Yo, what is good, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast here on the channel. I am Jeffrey Kirby. As you can see, we have someone new, someone that y'all should know, the man, the myth, the legend, Boss Sanchez, a.k.a. Jarryd. He's been in the comments. He'd be in the comments all the time. Avid Steeler fan. If you're part of Steeler Twitter, y'all know him already. Be sure to go and give him a follow at Boss_Sanchez98. Jarryd, how the hell are you?
I'm doing good. I really appreciate you having me on here. I'm really excited to talk about this team.
Listen, you've been in the chat for a while. I mean, obviously, we've met each other now a couple times. We met each other earlier this year, and then last year at the Lions game, in which we tied, first and foremost. That pisses me off. I've been to 2 ties in my life. Oh, you know what? Speaking of ties, I'm calling out Jarryd right now off the rip on something.
Oh, listen then.
You know exactly where I'm going with this as well. So, there's a conversation going on about records of the records of the games that we've been to. My record is 0-2-2. 0 wins, 2 losses, 2 ties, which still pisses me off, by the way. Jarryd, his fucking ass goes, yeah, I'm 5-2 and whatever it was. And I go, 2? Oh, no, I think it was what, 5-2?
Yeah, I said 5-2-1 on accident.
No, it was 5-1-2. It was something because you had a 2.
No, it was 2 in the middle. It was supposed to be
and no, because the 2 at the end, and I asked him, I was like, when the hell did you go to 2 ties? He was like, oh, those are the losses. Who the hell puts the ties in the middle? When the hell have we ever seen that?
Listen, I wasn't on my mind during that day. That's all I could tell you.
What the hell were you doing? Were you having a whole entire bottle? I mean, here, I have an empty bottle, not sponsored. I have a bottle of Weller Special Reserve Bourbon 90 proof. Shit is gas. Make sure y'all go get it. Not sponsored at all. I'm just saying it because why the hell not? I have an empty bottle of that. I'm pretty sure that day you might have had 4 bottles of this, just sipping and going like it's no tomorrow, like it's like in a movie of Hangover.
Yeah, that was probably a couple, yeah. It was a stressful week, I can tell you that.
You know who else has had a stressful week? Thomas Patrick Edward Brady. And you know what I have here. You know me. If y'all know me pretty well. Right here, y'all know I like my cigars. This is just a regular ribbon. But today, this is going to represent a Thomas Patrick Edward Brady pack. He came to Pittsburgh one last time, and damn it, we sent him out. We got him a plate of hot, mild L's. We got him a plate of L's. And that's exactly what happened to Tom Brady. Second time in a row that he has came to Pittsburgh and lost. Because remember the last time he was here was in 2018. That was an incredible game. I remember Fantastic. I was at work. And people I was in my freezer, which was 3 levels deep, and people heard me screaming during that game. That's how insane that game was. And we made him come out with another big fat L, and now he's out here playing in the NFL like he's getting deployed in the military. Listen, that man is literally having a midlife crisis.
I feel bad for him. I don't know how long he could be playing, honestly.
I don't know. And let's be honest. Going into that game, none of us felt great. We all might have had some optimism. A couple of us, even hell, people like me, thought last week, oh, we're going to shock the world. I gave myself to believe, oh, we're shocking the world. We're going to beat the Buffalo Bills. Yeah. And we got throttled.
No way.
We got throttled.
I was the same way.
Thinking, oh, okay, now you have Tom Brady coming in here. He's just he might could throw for 500 yards in the first quarter. And on top of that, you have a depleted secondary.
Yeah,
and
against that
secondary. Come out with a victory. I mean, is this not the Pittsburgh Steelers? You lose to the New York Jets, but beat Tom Brady in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You beat the reigning defending AFC champions and the Cincinnati Bengals, but you lose to the Browns. Is that not the most Pittsburgh Steelers thing that we have ever seen in our lives?
Pretty much. It happens every season.
I just
Happens.
I don't get it. I don't get it with this team. I mean, we'll take it all day long at this point. We'll take any win that we can get. Second win of the year. If going into this week with Miami, we're going to get into the Miami game actually here in a little bit. But going into watching this Tampa Bay game, going right into it, I did not feel good about it. But you're always like, you know what, maybe, every day's, you never know. You never know. And I know here on the show, I've been very critical, and we all have been very critical of Mike Tomlin. And it's been well-deserved. But also, I think at the end of the day, if you're going to criticize him when it's deserved, you got to give him his flowers when it's deserved. Mm-hmm. And we've been ridiculing the whole entire coaching staff between Mike Tomlin, Terrell Austin, Brian Flores, Matt Canada. Well, you Matt still go get him, Matt. Don't worry, you ain't off the hook. Chris Boswell was on your ass. Reckless speculation, bitch. Now, looking into this, I mean, you have to give him credit. They went out with a depleted secondary. You had guys like Arthur Millette, James Pierre, Josh Jackson, I think that was his name. You had 16 Island out there. And you had them boys playing very well against Tom Brady, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, which, hey, hoping that Cameron Brate's okay. That was a scary incident to watch. But, I mean, and look at the first drive. You held them to a 3-and-out on the first drive. You're like, oh, is this what we're doing? And then immediately after, you go on an 11-play drive, which led to the first quarter touchdown since that Lions game. I mean, you converted Kenny Pickett there. Converted a 3rd and 6, another 3rd and 6, and a 3rd and 11, and a 4th and 1 on that drive. You're like, what economy are we in? And, I mean, it just goes on from there. I mean, what were your initial thoughts going in? Like, right after, like, you hold them to, like, 3-and-out. What are your thoughts?
I was thinking there was a chance that we might pull this off, but I still had my doubts. It was just the first drive. Maybe Tom Brady was still a little rusty. Remember, he didn't he do walkthroughs on Saturdays, so he
went to Robert Kraft's wedding on Friday. Which, imagine, here's the thing. That's another, I think that was a whole lot of bulletin board material if you're Mike Tomlin, because that's how Tom Brady feels about you. That he's able to, just not really practice at all that week and go to a wedding. He showed up by himself. He came later than the team, like Saturday night or whatever. Just like, whatever. That's how he felt about this Pittsburgh Steelers team. And you got the repercussions. We handed you a big, fat plate of L's.
Yeah, I got to give credit to that defense. That defense did what they had to do. I couldn't believe it. And shout out to Alex Highsmith.
Hey, sack leader. Which does not – is it me or does it really not feel like he's the sack leader?
It definitely does not, but 6.5 going through why?
Because 3 of them bitches came week 1.
Yeah, but still through six weeks. I thought someone else, maybe by now, maybe Von Miller, but he was probably going to.
You could go through 25 guys that should have higher sacks than him. But shout out to Alex. Shout out to Mr. Sam, of course. We had him on last year. Shout out to him. He's a real cool father, real cool dude. Maybe that's who I need to try to get on next. Maybe I'll try to get Mr. Sam on here soon. But yeah, overall, in the first half, again, you hold Tom Brady in that offense to 9 points. 9 points. That's where you have to give huge props to your defense. Huge props. Because at the end of the day, you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe he'll come back in the second half, they're going to have some adjustments made, and then all hell's about to break loose. And in reality, that wasn't the case. Again, in that game, and then you go on another. So right after that touchdown drive with the Steelers, you get 3-and-out. Okay, that's more typical Steelers offense.
Yeah.
Then they go back, so they get back-to-back field goals. Then you go on a 12-play, 44-yard drive, which led to the field goal. 3 and out. Then Tom Brady goes 5 plays and a punt. Then you get 3 and out. Then they get 4 plays with a field goal. And you're 10-9 going in a half. Okay. I feel good about this. Feel good. After that, first drive in the second half, Pittsburgh comes out, field goal. You get points coming out of both halves. Okay, that's improvement. That's positivity. That's things that we could go into and let's say that's a positive thing. Tom Brady then goes on a 14-play drive for 69 yards, nice, and gets a field goal. Then 6-play drive punt, then you hold Tom Brady to 3 and out, then you get 3 and out, then you hold them to another 3 and out. Then you get the 8-play drive for the touchdown from Mitch Trubisky, which we'll get into Mitch Trubisky here in a second. Tom Brady and them, obviously, they go down, 14-play drive, they get a touchdown. And then Devin Bush, hell of a play.
Shout out to Devin Bush.
He played varsity football. If we're going to go with Tomlinisms here, hey, Tomlinism Thursday, he played varsity football on that play.
He had a good game for Sunday.
We've all been ridiculing him a lot. Got to give him props there again. If you're willing to criticize him in time of need, you give him their flowers. We're giving him his flowers here. It was well deserved.
Yeah, he definitely did that great read because I thought that was a tie game or 1-point lead if that happened.
And then on top of that, so in this case, you look at the first touchdown drive in that second half. That makes it go from 20-12. In that drive, the first drive, Mitch Trubisky converts a 3rd and 13, a 3rd and 6, and then on the second touchdown drive, you convert a 3rd and 13. Oh, no, that's the second drive. On the first, wait, hold on.
They didn't do well on the first drive. The second drive is when he picked it up.
So, in that touchdown drive, he converted a 3rd and 13, a 3rd and 6, and then in the final drive, that was the end-all, be-all, you converted a 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 11. So, you converted 3 3rd and 10 pluses in that time.
It's insane how Mitch did it. You know, he had confidence. He actually showed confidence in that game. He was a bench, had something to prove.
He played freely. He let the ball, he slanged the rock. He felt confident in himself. And at the end of the day, I mean, I forget where I heard it from earlier this week. I was listening, and apparently Chase Claypool on that touchdown pass, that wasn't where he was supposed to go. And he let it go. Mitch Trubisky let it go. Boom. Touchdown. Now you're up 8 points. And Mitch Trubisky, obviously, yes, he's going to have his moments. He had a couple moments where you're like, here we go. I mean, he got sacked one time. We're like, yep, that's classic Mitch Trubisky. But 9 of 12, 144 yards, averaged 12 yards per attempt. 12 yards an attempt. That is double what he was averaging the first, 4 games that he played? Because he was like 6.7 or 6.3, something like that. 6 point something. So nearly double the yards per attempt. That is classic improvement right there. Very good improvement. And then, again, got sacked one. He had a rating of 142.4. All right, we'll take that all day long. You held Tom Brady to 6.1 yards per attempt, which is, all right, we'll take that. Got to him twice. But here's the interesting part. Kenny Pickett only averaged 3.7 yards per attempt.
I think that it's part of it is with the play calling still. I think, Kenny, they have to let him be more loose. I think they're still being really reserved on him because they're throwing like 4 or 5 yard passes to the, out routes. Well, I see a lot. Or they'll do more jet sweeps. Yeah. They need to use that middle of the field more often.
And on top of that, I think part of it, too, in terms of not being able to use the middle of the field, you didn't have Pat Freiermuth, which I think was key, in terms of, being able to use the middle of the field. I mean, Zach Gentry had 1 catch for 4 yards, whatever. Chase Claypool again, another guy that we all ridiculed to no end. He's been in the headlines of, is he possibly going to be gone? We'll get into that here in a little bit. But he had himself a game. He had himself easily the best game of this year. 7 receptions, 96 yards, got a touchdown. He had 7 targets and caught all 7. So he had 100% catch percentage in this game. Averaged 13.7 yards per catch.
Yeah, he needs to do more of that though.
You need a whole lot more of that. And Chase Claypool, I mean, he had himself a hell of a game. He was bringing energy. That's what we needed. You have that energy. Connor Hayward, I mean, he had the one catch for 45 yards. Again, that was also shout out to Mr. Trubisky having the awareness to realize that Vita Vea was coming off the field there. And being able to realize that was a free play, doesn't matter what happens. You catch Connor Hayward down the middle, down the seam, and you get a huge play there. Huge play. That was one of the third down
led to that
pluses,
touchdown.
I believe. And Deontay Johnson, I mean, had 5 catches, only had 28 yards, averaged 5.6 yards per attempt. I mean, okay, not the greatest game out of him. And then obviously George Pickens, three receptions, 27 yards. Okay, nah. But at the end of the day, it was nice to see some positivity with this offense.
Still need to run the ball better. You
only averaged 2.7 yards per carry.
It's bad.
Najee Harris, 14 carries, 42 yards.
Like I said, they need to do more dump offs to Najee.
And this is something that you and me were talking about this a little bit off air. What does this team need to do in the offseason?
They need that offensive line.
They need to invest heavily, huge capital, into this offensive line. The last 2 times that the Pittsburgh Steelers drafted offensive linemen in the first round, what were their names again? David DeCastro and Marquise Pouncey. I get that was a decade and a decade plus ago. I get it. But at the end of the day, you need to invest into your offensive line. I don't know what your personal opinion is on what your thoughts were in terms of drafting Najee. I've been on record saying I did not want that from the jump because I felt like people were falling into this trap of you fixed the run game by having a great running back. Wrong. You have a great run game by building from the inside out. You build from the offensive line. You win and lose in the trenches. I have fully believed that, and I will continue to believe. You win games and lose games in the trenches.
Yeah, for sure. I would have personally, the second round, they should have, instead of Pat, they should have got a Creed Humphrey. That's where they should have went with. But I was a fan of Najee. He is an all good back.
Yeah.
But I get where you're coming from. I totally do.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand the dynamicness of, I know that's not a word, whatever. I understand how dynamic Najee Harris can be in terms of being able to be a pass catcher. He had 70-something receptions last year. And in the run game, obviously. But at the end of the day, again, I would have much rather invested into the offensive line. And instead of having, and we went through this last week. I don't remember if you were in the comments last week or if you were listening last week. But I mentioned this last week where you invested, it was like a 4th round pick left tackle, 4th or 3rd round pick left guard, a journeyman center that you picked up in free agency, another free agent that you picked up at right guard, and I think Chooks was a 3rd. You really did not invest as much as you could into the offensive line. And I think that's kind of been a lot of our issues. Now, I understand that the offensive line has not looked as bad as we thought, but there's still issues in the run game. How much of that is the offensive line? How much of that is just the overall scheme? How much of that is just Najee Harris not hitting the holes and not having that clear vision, not using his peripherals to make that cut, to realize there's you're going this way, realize there's a cut you could go, boom, I'm going to make this cut, go. Instead, it doesn't really look like that's working.
It's all around with the run game. It's really bad. We're going to be a one-dimension team only passing, and we're passing for 5 yards.
Which, I remember going on a rant back in 2020. I remember going on a rant about, we hear the term, what you just said, one-dimensional. Down the stretch, that team was literally one-dimensional. Short passes outside. That was it. And then that's why you lose games like you did on Monday Night Football to the Bengals. And you got embarrassed. That's how you lose those kind of games. Because you were very, very, very one-dimensional. Literally one-dimensional.
2.3 seconds per attempt.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, overall, and the other thing, too, that I noticed just coming from the first half, there was a couple, I wrote some things down after that first half, going back to that. The defense looked great. Again, got to give huge props to Tomlin, to Terrell Lawson, to Brian Flores. Got to give them their flowers. Got to give them their props.
You got to give it to Tomlin because everyone was criticizing. I don't know why people criticizing Tomlin a lot. They shouldn't. As much as, he's the coach.
Okay, you know what? That's a whole topic right there in itself. Why don't you believe so?
Tomlin, this week he showed that he put the effort on the defense, but it needs to be more consistent because you could tell where games where I don't know if he's doing it or they're just not communicating correctly. It just needs to happen more often because if we could beat Tom Brady with a backup practice squad, they could beat any team. Not any team. Most teams.
Here's why I think we all have a reason to be critical of him. I mean, again, you look at, maybe what it was the preparation like throughout the week. I mean, obviously, we don't really get to know that. I mean, and I know this is the trend here. There's 3 guarantees in life. Death, taxes, and me mentioning something about the clowns. But there's a whole lot of issues going on with the Browns here and with the way they're practicing. They are not a practice team. They don't practice well, and therefore you're seeing it in their performance, and there's a reason why they're 2-4, and their fans are just going like all hell is breaking loose there. You mix a mixture of that. Another reason why I think it's fine to be critical. You had a defense where the last 2 years you have been in bottom thirds of the NFL in total defense and run defense and whatever. You are a defensive-minded head coach, and you bring in a guy in Brian Flores, who the last time he was a play caller was a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator calling plays in a Super Bowl. Hell, I believe it was the Rams to 3 points. So you bring that in. Then you have Terrell Lawson. So you have a very defensive-minded coaching staff there. And to have the defense without one player in TJ Watt out there not being able to, I understand how important, I understand the dynamic of TJ Watt. But when you go from that to just being downright abysmal on defense,
it's bad.
And then on top of that, yes, you could always bring up 3 playoff wins in 11 years. You can always bring that up. But, like you said, they're obviously, yes, you could give him his flowers too. There's a trend, and I've noticed this, where throughout we're getting to like that middle-ish part of the year. And this happened with last year. You start off 1-3. You go on this little win streak in the middle, where we won like 4 straight last year. Could this very well be the beginning of that?
It's possible, but you don't want to guarantee it. You're going against a Miami squad.
You don't want to guarantee it. But when you look at it, you have a game against Miami. Now, you're a 7-point dog in this game at Miami. You will be in attendance at that game. So if y'all want to get a Jarryd Sanchez autograph, y'all better go and hit up Boss Sanchez, Boss Chez over there. But yeah, you're a 7-point dog. Obviously Tua's going to be most likely coming back for the first time since he had his horrific head injury on Thursday Night Football, which I have a thought on when it comes to that involving Kenny Pickett. This is a very winnable. You can very well win this game.
Yeah, they could definitely go 3-4 right here. They could definitely.
Yes, Philadelphia has been playing very well. I was one of those people that necessarily didn't understand why a lot of people were saying they were favorites for Super Bowl. Maybe now I'm seeing it, but we'll see. I
got to think of what teams they played against. They played against Dallas once. Like they barely beat the Lions. Minnesota was there. They smacked Minnesota, I guess, but it's not like it's nothing improving. It's the best team. They're undefeated right now, so I can't say much.
And so, yeah, at the end of the day, you get that, and I don't know. You have a very good shot of possibly winning those two games. Then you do that. Now you're 4-4 going into the bye. Then you have TJ Watt coming back. Now you're onto something. Because remember, right after that, you have the deadline. You have the trade deadline. Trade deadline's coming up, rapidly approaching. Will they let go of a certain player in Chase Claypool? Or will they add someone? And you trade a draft pick away and add someone to this roster. It'll all depend on really maybe how these next two games go.
And then Omar Khan. We don't have a lot of draft picks this coming draft, so I would say we need to, if we want a draft pick, trade away. Personally,
and here's the other thing too when it comes to that as well is like you said. Say you trade, maybe a 6th round pick on someone. You trade a 6th round pick to get someone, whatever. Hell, if you really want to, really want to, maybe try and trade Mr. Trubisky. Could you get someone to give you a 6th, maybe somewhere? Maybe
You know who the potential target is. It's Chase Claypool right now.
And right now, so I'll ask you this: the Packers call you. What is the lowest pick that you'll take?
Yeah, it has to be a 3rd rounder. 4th, maybe. 4th, it has to be a player. Like not even an average player. But I would say at least a 3rd round pick. You need a 3rd round pick for Chase Claypool.
Here's an interesting part too: is remember when the Patriots traded a 2nd round pick for Mohamed Sanu?
Yeah, that was insane.
I'm not saying, but it's going to be it's an interesting topic. It's an interesting thing to think about because at the end of the day, yes, he did just have himself what we all like to call in G-Cost terms, legacy game. Shout out G-Cost, G-Cost for life. But no.
The price of brick is going up. That's what's happening.
Yeah, and we'll see. And they're in dire need of a number 1 for Aaron Rodgers. And obviously, you give Chase Claypool a guy like Aaron Rodgers, he can be dangerous.
He's going to be dangerous. I think it would be.
And who knows, maybe
just I'd be instantly.
Scenery, you'll hear that. Not that he wants out, but at the end of the day, I think when it comes to Chase Claypool, his value is as high as it's going to be right now because going back to baseball, and you'll understand this as well. And I should have mentioned baseball, but we'll just handle that later. How about that?
All right, sounds good.
We'll handle that at the end of the show. But yeah, when you look at Chase Claypool, do you trade him at the deadline or do you to a desperate team, most likely Green Bay? You could get more value for him now than you would at the deadline or at the end of the season. Because when you trade him at the end of the season, now you also have to look at it. He's going to be ready for a new contract. He'll be eligible to get a new contract there. If you get him now, you won't be really thinking about that at the moment, and B, you'll still get him for half of this season and then on top of next year. And then you'll be able to evaluate whether he's going to fit in your system or what will happen. See what kind of impact that he can make when it comes to whoever set team is going to be. It's like baseball. We go, us as a small market team, we go through this a lot. I mean, we went through it with Bauer. We went through it. We're possibly going through it with Shane Bieber. I mean, the Pirates are the same way. It's all about control when it comes to those guys. You guys, y'all just spend a shit ton of money, so you know what?
I'm a Yankees fan in case anybody doesn't know that.
Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of money.
Fuck the Yankees, by the way. But yeah, I mean, it goes kind of like that analogy where when you get a little bit more control, it's going to cost you a little bit more. And maybe one of these desperate teams, again, if you're Green Bay, you're still in this win mode. Maybe you definitely go for a guy like Chase Claypool. And it's going to be interesting. And I'm going to be very interested to see what happens with a Miami Dolphin. We're going to see him this week, possibly for the last time, and Mike Gesicki in Miami. He's a guy that could be very well on I believe he's on the trade block. We'll see what happens with Christian McCaffrey. Imagine if Christian McCaffrey somehow went to Buffalo.
They would have to give up a lot.
Healthy, that is unfair.
They would have to give up a lot to get Christian McCaffrey.
But are they in a win now situation? Absolutely.
Well, yeah, of course. Then you have to give up at least a first, maybe two.
Do you think they're worried about that?
Of course not, but still.
And I remember having this discussion after the Super Bowl. When the Rams won their Super Bowl and they were, they basically said, bleep them picks. They had the bleep them picks shirts going all around. You kind of thought to yourself, is this going to be the new trend of how the NFL runs and how teams are going to run? Where they will use draft capital, where when you're drafting a player, you're drafting them on possibilities and potential and using those to get players that you know what you're going to get. When they knew what they were going to get when they traded for Jalen Ramsey. They knew what they were going to get when they traded for Von Miller. They knew what they were getting when they traded for Matthew Stafford. They knew what they were getting. It's not like you're trying to collect picks and you're basing it on potential and possibilities. And you thought
it worked for them.
If you're in a win now situation, maybe you do that.
It is, but it just depends on the player. You know what you're getting from him. It really all depends. For the Buffalo Bills, they should really consider it because they don't really have a run game besides Josh Allen.
Yeah, they really don't.
So I would be interested to see how much they would give up for Christian McCaffrey. It would have to be at least a first round pick, maybe two, or first and 2 seconds.
Foremost, there's not a chance in hell I'm trading 2 firsts for a damn running back who's injury prone. Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. I would much rather switch from being a Guardians fan to the Yankees fan than that. And if y'all follow me on Twitter, y'all know damn well how I feel about the Yankees. And how 29 other fan bases in Major League Baseball feel about them damn Yankees. Go Astros, by the way, right now.
Nah, it's game one. It is what it is. We'll see what happens tonight.
But yeah, I just that's gonna be a very interesting thing to talk about or to see what happens in the development over the course of time over the next couple weeks. See what happens with Chase Claypool. I mean, there's two sides to it. If you know that you're not going to be in a situation to win and get into the playoffs, maybe because that's you know that he's not coming back after next year. You're not franchise tagging him. You're not paying him.
No way.
So it would be literally a year and a half. Goodbye. That's what I like to say.
Unless he pops off like a superstar level, I doubt it. It's not going to happen.
And there was a reason why you drafted George Pickens and Calvin Austin. There was a reason why you did that.
It is. It's a good reason. Very good reason. But like I said, if the Packers call tomorrow and say, hey, I'll give you a second or third round pick, you take that deal.
Oh, yeah. If you get a second or third round pick, absolutely. But here's my issue and here's my thought when it comes to that. We all know the Pittsburgh Steelers focus on this year and this year only, especially Mike Tomlin. Giving up a guy for just a draft pick just does not seem like his style. Unless it's, like a grizzled vet like it was with Melvin Ingram or something.
Or it could be player for player.
I mean, if you could get if you guys want to give us Jair Alexander, we'll gladly take him.
It's not that. All right, that's all right. I think that value is a little
joking there, but
a value is too high. But they could. I don't know who would they go for. I have to look into the roster more often if they really would do player for player, but I doubt they'll do that.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, you don't really see player for player trades.
No,
I know
don't.
the Browns and Patriots did that earlier this year. They traded. It was a Mac Wilson for Chase Winovich trade, which was like.
Well, think about the Broncos and Seahawks. They traded a couple players here and there from draft picks, of course, but.
Yeah, but I also think that that was also a big time for a big time player. But I mean, at the end of the day,
he's not being unlimited right now. So,
he's riding all right. He's riding all right. Broncos country, let's ride. Yeah, y'all are riding onto big fat L's every week on prime time. Who the hell? I mean, okay. Let me say who the hell thought it was a good idea. First off, I maybe had a little bit of questions about them. I didn't think they were going to be, first off, this bad. And second off, yes, I get why you put the Broncos on primetime. They just traded for Russell Wilson. He's a big time. I get it, but god damn, they are looking pathetic. It's looking more pathetic than my love life right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm joking. You'll find somebody. We'll find somebody.
It's like the Orlando Magic going up against like the Milwaukee Bucks.
It's true.
And again,
listen, the Magic are going to get up there, man. It's going to take time. 2 seasons.
You know what? I'm taking a shot at someone. You said the Magic are going to go up there?
Well, not.
They're going to get as high as about as tall as Smitty is from around the 4-1.
Oh, my God. Okay,
Smitty,
listen. All
there's
right,
your ass right there.
Don't need to do that to poor Smitty, man.
Hey, shout Smitty, though. Also, speaking of Smitty here, I will say that. Okay, I think we're good. All right. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there. But, okay. Yeah, we might have actually got cut off here. All right, if you're watching this, I do apologize for everything. My computer literally just, like, took a big fat shit and just, like, made everything disappear, hoping that we're still here. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be very curious.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, first and foremost, now it's not even showing you. You know what? You said what?
Go. I'm going to turn on the light in my room anyway, so this is a good time, actually. So
okay. We're actually going to take a quick break. I'm going to figure out what the hell's going on with my computer, and then we'll be right back. So we'll be right back. All right, I think we're good. I think we'll figure this out. I mean, if everything looks all weird, I apologize for it. My computer's just taking a big fat big fat shit on me, just like how the Yankees took a big fat shit on the Guardians. But there you go. I just gave you an alley-oop there, you bastard.
Thank you. They did great. Shout out to Harrison.
Okay, there we go. Yep, we're all good now. It works weird on my end, but on your end, it looks good. You guys' end, it looks good, so we're all good. Back to the regularly scheduled programming. I forget where the hell we were at first. Oh, yeah.
We were talking about the trade, if it happens.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I also I also just shat on Smitty's whole life, so, there's that. Oh, yeah. Back to what I was really saying. The Isla Keen, there's a GoFundMe down below for Isla Keen, who is a She is the 2-year-old daughter of Dalton, who is a Steeler fan who passed away at the Steeler game. I believe it was Steelers-Jets game. Smitty knew him personally. They were friends in high school and stuff. So if you want to go and donate for a great cause, go check the description. There's a link down below. Isla Keen for GoFundMe. Go and donate. It's for a great cause. That's from Smitty and Tyler from Around the 412. See, not only do I shit on them, but I also, will give them a shout out as well. So there you go. Positive and negative around here up in these streets. Now back to the regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, at the end of the day, it'll be very interesting to see what happens over the course of time with this, the next couple days with this thing. It's okay. All right. Let's go from here. All right. Let's see if we're back on here. We're having major technical difficulties over here. I think it's because of how over the course of time. Yeah. Jesus, you see where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see if we're back on. Okay, there we go. Hold on. Okay, I think we're good here. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're back on. There we go. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'll be very interested to see what happens over the course of time with this trade. Now, let's try to get back on track here before we have more technical difficulties here. Let's talk about this interesting news that came out this week about Mr. Trubisky and Deontay Johnson. Do you have any comments on?
I don't know much. I wasn't really paying attention to it because, it was just a thing of the past. They made up. Whatever happened, it happened. That's how I see it, personally.
So we heard multiple sides to this. We heard, obviously, yes, there was a big old fight that happened between Mr. Trubisky and Deontay Johnson. First off, that doesn't surprise me. I know it's only in high school. I've gotten into fights with teammates in high school during halftime when we were having a bad game. I got into an argument with our quarterback because he thought I did something wrong, and it wasn't the case. My position coach was like, "No, it was on you." He was just being stupid, and it didn't work out at all, and we got into a big fight there. It's gonna happen. Especially tempers are flaring. The offense was just not clicking at all. I think they had only scored 3 points in that first half. So, I mean, it didn't work out at all. And so, yes, tempers are going to flare. Then we also heard that Tomlin going down, there were reports saying he knew. They knew that it was time. Then we had this thing earlier this week that came out from Ron Cook of 93.7 The Fan. And it was a quote of saying, quote, "conduct unbecoming of a captain."
Doesn't make sense at all.
Makes zero sense. It literally makes zero sense. So, I reached out to someone that I know who had some knowledge on the information, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, what is up with this? Like, what is this quote?" And they basically said to me, he was not made aware of that. That was not what he was told. And this is a guy that had a very reliable source from someone in the building. And he was like, it makes zero sense. That would make zero sense because if that was the case, wouldn't you take away him being a captain? So that was like, it literally didn't make zero sense. I'm like, okay, that's weird, whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, yes, it got overblown. Yes, it got us Kenny Pickett, so we got what we wanted. A lot of us got what we wanted. We all were bitching and complaining about Kenny Pickett, myself included. We got him. Obviously, we still lost that game, but, that's a different story. We're past him there. But I think the interesting part about this was, depending on where you hear this from, talking about different reports, you hear it from Jerry Dulac, whether it's from Kabali, whether it's from whomever.
Filippone,
he's another example. I mean, yes, he was the one that broke the Acrisure Stadium news. So, I mean, yes, he's another guy. Name any report. And this is not just in Pittsburgh. This is anywhere in sports. Depending on where you get that information from is what's key. Because sometimes you'll get information from an agent. Because if an agent is letting these guys know, because I feel like sometimes people get this perception that it comes from the player. No, it's usually coming from the agent. And obviously the agent's going to say and do whatever is best to make his client look the best. That's what you're going to get. And now if it's someone maybe within the organization, you'll get a different answer, maybe based on a different perspective or a different agenda based on whomever it is or the relationship that they have with that player. So it all depends on where the source is from. I mean, like for Adam Schefter, when he gets his stuff, when he's breaking news, obviously he has people who are within the organization that are giving him that information. Same with Ian Rappaport, and even the local beat reporters here in Cleveland, or in San Francisco, or in Seattle, or in Kansas City, wherever it is, depending on where they're getting that information from, it's going to kind of be based on maybe the agenda that's trying to be pushed with that player or with whatever it is and with that news.
Yeah, those news, that what broke out, I'm sure, it's based on performance too. Like, it's not, there's no way whatever happened, it happens. It's time to move on.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, yeah. And Deontay Johnson said whatever happened, which we all knew something did happen. They've made up. They're good. They're boys again. I mean, they're teammates. They're going to fight. You win and lose with your brothers. They're all brothers in that locker room. So it's going to be it is what it is. It's going to happen. And now you move on. Now you focus on this game against Miami on Sunday Night Football. Speaking of Sunday Night Football, did I say Monday Night Football?
You said Sunday night. You're good.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. Speaking of Sunday Night Football, you have a game against the Miami Dolphins. And they have a certain player named Tua Tagovailoa. We have not seen him since he had the devastating injury where he did the fencing and it did not look good. And after that, with the way that the public perception came out with that, we all know the NFL cares very deeply about their public perception and their PR.
Oh, yeah, they were on top of that quick.
And on top of that, then people were losing their jobs, and now protocols were being changed. The NFLPA got involved, and this is why I'm bringing this up. Sunday Night Football. You have Tua most likely coming back for his first game back since that injury. You just had a guy in Kenny Pickett leave the game on Sunday with a concussion. I'm going to be very curious to see how this is really handled over the next 48 hours. Tomlin and it's been true. Kenny Pickett's been out there full go, not on the injury report. He's been full go, taking every rep. But here's my question. When you look at what's going on with the NFL and their PR, you have this independent neurologist that, independent, really works for the NFL, whatever. I'm going to be very curious because I also want to know what that protocol is like in terms of, like, this independent neurologist. Like, when you have a situation like that, do you have someone that flies in from New York to there to, like, go and check him out and, like, see if he's cleared or not? Because if you just
are you talking about during the game, or like they don't they have one during the game as well? And they always
you have one during the game, but you're not going to have one like throughout every day at practice. That's not the case.
Yeah,
because then it's like he's fine, whatever, blah blah blah. I'm gonna be very curious to see where it's like if there's a neurologist that comes in on like Saturday and is like, no, I don't care, he's not playing.
It's
Tomlin
very
can't say
true.
anything about that. Tomlin can't say a damn thing about it at that point. So,
very true.
And on top of that, there's been 39 concussions. And there was a weird stat where it was like only like 6 of them came back like the week after or something. It's a weird thing. And the fact that you just had that on Sunday and he was a full participant in practice on Wednesday, was a
I think
little
they
alarming and a little strange, if you ask me.
It is, but with the way that he took the hit with Kenny, every situation is different with the concussions, unfortunately.
But I think the thing that isn't different is always, again, going to be the PR of this. And it goes back to that. Because what if, and obviously none of us are hoping this happens, but when we were talking about this, also none of us wanted to see Tua Tagovailoa come unconscious and have his fingers look like they got broken in 5,000 places with that fencing mechanism or whatever. I mean, we witnessed that personally with Mason Rudolph in 2019 against the Ravens.
Yeah.
We witnessed that personally there. What if Kenny Pickett were to have a similar incident like that happen?
Oh, the PR is not going to
right after, within a month of the backlash that the NFL got for Tua and his incident, and on top of that, what is the common denominator between that incident and a possible hypothetical scenario in this? Both were on primetime football. This was the only football game going on at that time. This happened on Thursday night when this was the only football game on, and this was on Sunday Night Football, the only football game being played at that time. That's the common denominator on this. Because if you have two straight incidents like this that happen, both on primetime football, that is definitely not good.
It's not going to look good for sure.
I live in Cleveland. Again, I'm bringing this back up for a certain reason. We all know how the whole thing with Deshaun Watson got handled. And at the end of the day, they saw the public reaction of the, from the original 6-game suspension from Sewell Robinson. And then obviously they had another arbitrator came in and was like, yeah, 11 games is going to look better publicly. And that's what they did. They care about their public perception a lot. We all know this very well. This goes back to a decade ago when they had a lot of people questioning and lawsuits about why aren't you doing more to try to help prevent these concussions and these head injuries. Then they started to care for a while. Then things kind of got lackadaisical for a little bit. Then you have this. So now you're overgoing of things. Pat Freiermuth has had 3 concussions in like a 2-year span. We don't know what he's going to be like if he gets another one or what maybe reaction he'll get. As much as we all want Kenny Pickett to play, I don't think any of us can get mad if an independent neurologist holds him back. I mean, we all want him to play, but at the end of the day, we also have to look at it from the person's health perspective. A lot of us tend to forget that they're human beings and not just robots. And I'm not saying you don't, and I'm not saying, but there are people who do that where they just forget that they're human as well. And at the end of the day, yes, they are paid very handsomely, but at the end of the day, that doesn't matter when it comes to caring about their health. And, he has a family as well. And this goes for everyone. I don't care what team you are. There are certain things when it comes to health you got to care about. And us as fans, we can't get mad if they decide to hold them out.
No, of course not. Definitely. They do what's best for the player.
Yeah, and obviously, and here was the other part that was very interesting about this whole thing. And this goes back to right after the Tua incident that happened. And then the video from the Pivot podcast came out with Ryan Clark. And how they held Ryan Clark out from that Denver game when he was trying to give a spew. So, at least there you have evidence to show that Mike Tomlin does care. So, and I'm not the one to question Mike Tomlin in terms of this. Because obviously we're not in the building. We don't know what he's been like. We don't know what his reactions have been. We don't know how he's been feeling. But, I don't know. This whole thing just feels a little weird, if you ask me.
It does, and from what it looks like with Kenny Pickett practicing every day, he's gonna be ready on Sunday. It just depends on the independent neurologist.
Yeah, I'm going to be very, very curious to see what happens with that. All right, one last thing two more things before we get on out of here. One important one, and then one, yeah, I'll just say congratulations to you and all your success. Let's talk about the preview to this game and what we think needs to happen for the Steelers to win. What do you think? If you had to give me two of the biggest, most important things aspects of this game for the Steelers to win this football game, what would it be?
Oh my God, the offense run the football effectively. Defense, do not let Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle beat you. That's really the game plan. Miami doesn't have a run game. Even though our run defense is terrible, they can still run it. But they're probably not going to try to run a lot, but we need to be good on the front seven. Need to be very effective. Yeah. And with the play calling, depends who plays. Kenny or Mitch, they'll be ready. Don't be surprised if see Mason suit up as the third QB, or this is the backup if Kenny doesn't play.
Oh yeah, I mean definitely that'll be the case. So I was looking at the injury report for the Dolphins today. They had a couple non-practices. Emmanuel Ogbah dealing with a back. He did not practice yesterday or today. So I'm thinking if he doesn't practice tomorrow, he's most likely going to be out. I think that's a key part of them. Emmanuel Ogbah is a good player. Cornerback Keon Crossan with a knee. He did not participate the last 2 days. A new player, linebacker Sam Iguagavin. I can't pronounce his name. I apologize. He was not a participant today due to an illness. Then you had a couple different changes. Teron Armstead, he did not practice yesterday. He was limited today with a toe. Jerome Baker was limited. Skylar Thompson, Jalen Waddle was limited both days with a shoulder. Christian Wilkins went from non-participant to a limited today with a hand injury. So, you have Raheem Mostert. He was limited yesterday. Today he was a full go at practice with a knee. So, be very interesting to see what happens on their end. On our end, there's two players that did not practice. Cam Hayward was just a rest day. And then Steven Sims did not practice with a hamstring yesterday or today. This is where I think hopefully you can maybe get Calvin Austin back.
That could be a possibility of that. Calvin Austin could play for their kick return, punt return. They'll be fantastic. If he's not good to go, then you got Gunner. Start Gunner that game. Don't want to see him on there, but you got who you have. But everyone's getting the secondary's coming back, that's the big thing.
Cornerback James Pierre, he was added today. He was limited with a hip, and then there was a lot of players that were full participants: Mason Cole, James Daniels, Minka, Pat Freiermuth, Miles Jack, Cam Sutton, Akella Witherspoon, Chris Wormley, Larry Ogunjobi, Kenny Pickett, and Levi Wallace. They were all full participants, which is great to see compared to last week when it was the complete opposite, when they were all DNPs.
It would be fantastic to have the whole secondary out there just to see it back together.
And also, pretty soon we'll be seeing the return of DeMonte KZ.
That's very soon. Started practice yesterday. We'll see when he returns.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to see him come back, add a little bit of depth to that secondary as well. All right. Go ahead and give it to me.
Listen, I didn't want to talk crap about your Guardians. Fuck the Guardians. They shout out to Aaron Judge, the best player in MLB, should win the MVP. I don't care about Shohei. I love Shohei. He's a great two-way player, but I'm a diehard Yankees fan, and it's going to be Aaron Judge. And the Yankees need to make the World Series, or Judge is leaving.
First and foremost, go Astros for this series. In reality, I'm rooting for whoever the hell comes out of the NL.
I know you are.
Whether it's I would prefer to see the Padres win it. I'd
It'll be a
prefer
good
to
series,
see the
though.
Padres win it. But if it's got to be the Phillies, cool, that's fine. As long as it's not the Yankees or Astros.
You got to see one of them. That's all you got to say.
And also, let's just, here, you know what? Here, I wish I had a big fat glass of bourbon to say, hey, Robert Manfred, this is what Jarryd was doing. Hey, Robert Manfred, here's a big old cheers to you for helping us get Nestor Cortez out there and actually was able to pitch because they would rather have Nestor Cortez pitching over some Jameson Taillon, whatever the hell his name is. And instead, now granted, at the end of the day, I can also come back and say, yes, Guardians need to score more than one run in Game 5 of ALDS. I can say that. I will say that. You need to score more than one run. You had multiple opportunities to score, and you didn't. Josh Naylor, you got what you were asking for. I love Josh Naylor, but you got what you were asking for. You started doing the baby rocking, and it said the only thing that you baby rocked was an L out of the playoffs. So, yes, I can also be critical as well. But, and now here's another thing I will be critical on, but it's for both ends. The umpiring calls the balls and strikes were terrible on both sides.
Oh, God, that's serious. It's terrible.
Both sides. There was calls that there was calls that where Stephen Kwan got striked. There was a strikeout where the ball was 2 feet off the. I'm like, and then there were times where we got calls where I'm like, wow, we really just got a call there. Like, it was terrible. But reviews and bang bang plays on the field, they were phenomenal on. The only one that they missed was Game 5 when Andres Jimenez came in. But, and a lot of people, in Cleveland wanted to shit on Francona on that. I can't blame Francona on that because he's relying on someone else in the booth. He's relying on someone else to rely to him, hey, are we doing it? Are we challenging or not? So I can't blame because he can't see it. So he's relying on whoever is in charge of reviewing those plays. Because, I mean, he went 0 for 2 on challenges on, Game 3 or Game 4? And then, obviously, that was another one where it was like, hey, bae. But, I mean, even then, I don't know how much of that was going to change. I think after that was Austin Hedges. Austin Hedges swings a pool noodle at the plate. You know those big old inflatable tube things that you'll see at used car dealerships? That's what he swings at the plate.
And I got to say this, as a Yankee fan, when they postponed it, whatever it was, blame the MLB. Don't blame the Yankees. That's all I got to say. Yeah, Rob Manfred,
Oh, I definitely could blame the Yankees. Don't worry about that. Oh, I can do that.
They could have played at 9:30. It would have been a late game, but it is what it is.
Yeah, you could say it is what it is because it benefited you.
Listen, like I said, and whoever is planning for your team, it needs to be fired. That's what it needs to be. Can't find hotels for your team. What are they doing?
Because none of us also planned. They planned it for one day because none of us were expecting a rain out there. Because on top of that, you got to think that's Game 5. Whoever wins, if you lose, you're going home. If you win, you're going to Houston.
Oh yeah. Like they barely celebrated and went to Houston right after.
Good. Good.
So
congratulations, y'all beat a team with a payroll of $80 million. Y'all pay, how much was y'all's payroll? $580 billion? Something like that? $1 billion? $2 billion? $3 billion? $4 billion? $5 billion? $6 billion? $7 billion? Or $8 billion? Congratulations, y'all sent an $8 billion can of whoop ass on a team with an $80 million payroll. Congratulations.
A win is a win. That's all I could say.
I am in a shoot like no end.
A win is a win. We'll see how they do tonight. I got to get ready to watch this game here soon, so we'll see how they do tonight.
7:37. Whoever the hell is pitching for, I don't know. Go Astros. I'm saying that I can't believe in my lifetime
Severino's pitching tonight.
Astros.
Severino. I think it's against. I forgot their second pitcher. It's not Verlander, but.
Yeah,
it's a good pitcher.
Used to be Garrett Cole.
Yeah, it used to be. Garrett Cole will be ready for Game 3.
Yeah, Garrett Cole's he's about to get shelled.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
He's
we'll
gonna
see.
get shelled like no
We'll see.
tomorrow.
All
God,
right.
I can't wait.
All right. We'll
God,
see.
I
I'm
cannot
excited.
wait.
We'll see. It's gonna go 7 games. That's how I see it.
Nah,
It's gonna go 7 games.
it's going 4.
No way, George.
Get the brooms out. Get the brooms out! Because the Astros are sleeping.
Nah.
And it's going to be great because
You
it'll
just
be
want me
another
angry.
year.
You just want me
It's going to
angry.
be
That's all
another
you want.
year of Yankees fans bitching and complaining about Aaron Boone or Brian Cashman or someone. They're going to find somebody. And then when Aaron Judge, oh boy, when Aaron Judge leaves your asses, oh boy. And here's the thing. I don't like. I was going to say I don't like. I like Aaron Judge. I hate the team he's on. Aaron Judge, he strikes out, which again, outside of 2 home runs, he struck out like 75,292 times against us. So in reality, we still his daddy. But but at the end of the day, yeah, I like Aaron Judge. I mean, he strikes out, okay. Walks back to the dugout, cool. You know, he seems like a fine young gentleman. Cool, great. I don't know why I call him young. He's older than me. He's like 30. But,
He's 30.
I mean, I'm going to be very curious to see what happens with him. In fact, I know where he's going to go. Breaking news! Aaron Judge is coming to the Pirates.
That'll be funny. I wouldn't listen. It's not never gonna happen. But I wouldn't be mad. Any other team, I'd probably be upset.
I'm making sure I'm using that as an Instagram reel. But all right, I think that's about it. 7:07. We went a little bit over. I gotta get ready. You gotta get ready to go watch the Stankies go get the ass whooped by the Astros, and I gotta get ready to go and watch the Penguins play. So it's gonna be a hell of a time. Thank you, Jarryd, for coming on. Maybe we'll
Appreciate
see
it.
some more.
We'll see.
We'll see. But until then, if you haven't yet, make sure to please go and click that red subscribe button. We're on the road to 600 subs. We're at 576 or 577. So we're getting there. I think it's 577 because we are LeBron James, former LeBron James number points or subscribers away. We are Michael Jordan subscribers away. But until then, hope to see you guys in the next live stream or the next video. Stay safe. I'm Kirby. That's Jarryd.
I'm Jarryd.
Fuck
See
the
ya.
Astros. Fuck the Yankees, too. But in reality, it's definitely fuck the Yankees. Till then, have a great weekend. Peace out. Go Steelers.